What's up, guys? Crypto Muser here with your daily news and analysis in the crypto markets. Now, today I have an interview here. John Deaton, XRP community member attorney who represents 65,000 plus XRP holders against the SEC, had an interview with the CEO of LBRY, Jeremy Kauffman. And if you don't know, the SEC is also going after and had a lawsuit with the company LBRY, a cryptocurrency company basically trying to make a decentralized YouTube. Great idea, by the way. So they had an interview a couple days ago, and we finally got that this morning. But it's very interesting in this interview. The CEO of LBRY kind of talks about how the SEC uses this intimidation, bullying tactic, where they basically say, if you want to, fight us in court, we will put you out of business, basically, right? This will cost you millions of dollars if you want to do this. And the options they gave them basically was either, you settle with us right now and basically stop existing as a company, right? Or you battle us in court and we make you go bankrupt and you stop existing as a company. I mean, those are the options they give a small company like LBRY. I mean, is that bullying? Should that be okay? This is ridiculous. The fact that this is the type of thing, this is how you kill innovation in this country, right? If you use this is why I always call the SEC the mob, and this mob mentality, because, if they don't like what you're doing, they'll just put you out of business. That's what the SEC does. They know they can just drag along these cases and, just basically, suck the life out of this company with legal fees. I mean, this is the way a government agency works. A government agency supposedly representing U.S. investors. No, this is not what what a government agency should be doing. They shouldn't be picking winners and losers like this. And why would what did LBRY do? Why did they start this lawsuit in the first place? Was it because they were frauding people? Were they doing something that were hurting investors? No, not at all. The fact that they went after a company like LBRY and is trying to put them out of business, really, you should be questioning their motives here. A company that's basically trying to make a decentralized form of YouTube. I mean, that's a great idea. I mean, with everything going on with these social media platforms, censoring content out there, the idea for a decentralized form of social media like YouTube is a great idea, and it will definitely be happening in the future. But companies that are trying to do this are getting bombarded and basically sued by the SEC and put out of business, and that is going to stifle innovation in this country. And these other companies obviously aren't going to start in the U.S. if they're afraid to get put out of business by the SEC. They'll go elsewhere. They'll go to, like I've always said, Singapore, Switzerland, Japan, UK, countries that are more clear and concise with their crypto regulation. So you hate to see stuff like this, but in this interview, if you want to check the full interview out, you can go to Crypto Law here on Twitter and get the full interview. But I have a couple snippets that I want to show you guys that really are eye-opening to me. But before I do, guys, if you could please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below, it'd be very much appreciated. But let's get right into it. So this Crypto Law put this out. The SEC's shameful attack on LBRY. Like I said, check out the full interview here if you want. But in March 2021, the SEC sued LBRY, which built a publishing blockchain that operates the Odyssey platform that uses the utility token LBC for tipping and other functions. The SEC's attack on LBC is even more egregious than the attack on XRP. And its victimization of a small company like LBRY uses threats and intimidation tactics, dramatizes the abusive overreach of the heart of the regulation by enforcement. So this is why regulation by enforcement is so detrimental to innovation around the world, or in the U.S., because this scares companies out of the U.S., bottom line. So let's get into the first clip here. Let's get into this first clip here and then let's talk about it.
Say, come on in. We heard Bill Hinman say, and Jay Clayton said, come in and we will work with you. I have to tell you, Jeremy, if someone such as yourself came to me today as a lawyer seeking advice, I would say, don't cooperate.
Correct. That's my advice. I tell blockchain entrepreneurs, hide as much as you can do. obscure everything that you're doing, just hide as much as you can. And that's messed up because that's what we did. We went in, we were maximally transparent. We said, here's the spreadsheet that you can download of a literally line by line of everything we're doing with our money. And all I did was get punished for it. No, there's no sense in which by being a good guy, you're going to avoid it. The SEC, they're lazy. They are lazy people. They don't care about catching bad guys. They care about catching people that they personally dislike or that are easy for them to catch. Okay, I mean, you can look at some of the actors in this space, that have been, clearly selling stuff that's crap, and the SEC doesn't even go after them.
So true. So it's amazing that the SEC can basically go after a company like Library, go after a company like Ripple, but meanwhile you see fraudulent tokens every day, pump and dump schemes. I mean, there's so much fraud in this space that it's amazing that the SEC doesn't go after any of it. Right? They use our taxpayer dollars to go after companies that aren't hurting us, but meanwhile there are people that actually are hurting investors out there, but there's no punishment at all. This is why it's so ass backwards. The reason they're going after a company like Library that is actually trying to help people by starting a decentralized form of YouTube, that actually helps investors. But in the meanwhile, they use our taxpayer dollars to go after these companies. I mean, you can't make this shit up, guys. It's unbelievable that this is happening and that this continues to happen in this country. And this is the main reason why we need to vote, use that power to get the right people in power to get this, stop the SEC from what they're doing. And I know that this executive order we just got, kind of goes in that direction, but we know how everything works in this country with Congress. You have a Democratic and Republican on both sides, and nothing gets done, right? It's just back and forth. And it's like, if you want to get one thing done, it's a grueling process of, can we come to an agreement on something and actually get it passed? And anybody that's into politics in this country knows it takes. I mean, it's almost impossible to get anything passed in this Congress because they are so divided, right? There's so much tribalism and so much division that nothing gets done. And I hate to say it, but a country like China, right? I wouldn't say it's a good thing, but a benefit that China has is that when they want to get something done, it's one person that makes the decision, and that happens the next day, basically, right? If President Xi wants to do something, they do it, right? They don't have to go through, Congress and all these checks and balances and all this stuff. Because I'm not saying that's a good thing. That's why democracy is good, because we have to, vote on it. Everybody has to agree on it. But something like crypto, like, we're gonna get left behind if we actually don't, move forward and start to lead in this innovation, right? And places like China and other places, China, Russia, and places like that will basically, take the business away from the U.S. And this is the type of thing, I think they're finally getting that. And that's why this executive order was good. But, it's tough to think that, the Republicans and Democrats can get together and do anything at this point. I have literally zero hope that they can actually get together and do it. I mean, you have people like Elizabeth Warren that is like totally on one side of the argument, and then you have other Republicans in the Senate that are on the other side, and they just come with a compromise and actually get something done? I mean, that'll be the question, and I hope they do. But like I said, the executive order is a first good step forward, but can we follow through here now? That's the big question. So another clip I have here in this interview. This is even more interesting, honestly. Let's watch this.
Yeah, this is a funny thing that happened when the SEC compelled me to give testimony, is they're asking about, they're asking me things like, so Library wasn't done yet. And it's like, I actually asked them questions back. It's like, well, is Gmail done? Does Gmail have more people developing it now than in beta? Is Bitcoin done being developed? Is Ethereum, but obviously, I'm a fan of all this, by the way, so I'm never trying to drag these companies too hard, but Ethereum, they need to do it 2.0. So that says something about their initial version. They needed to if they have all these scaling issues, that doesn't to me say that was a done technology. It's arguably has a lot of usability problems in its current iteration. Now I hope they solve all this, But that's not a technology that's done. I mean, these people have one of the things that I certainly continue to see in the interviews that they have borderline no understanding of technology. I mean, it's like seriously, like the amount of interaction I've had with them, they don't understand it at all.
Well, that's sad. I mean, if a regulation, the SEC is regulating this space, and they haven't educated themselves in this technology. That just, I mean, that just shows you right there that they are. I mean, how can you do that? How can you regulate a space if you don't even understand what the space is? I mean, this interview really opened my eyes, and we all thought that the SEC was unprepared, or uneducated in the space, but I didn't know it was this bad, right? The fact is, they basically went after this company because they didn't like what they were doing. They didn't like that they were going to make a decentralized form of YouTube, I guess, and now they're trying to put them out of business. I mean, this is a government agency here, basically, trying to put a small business out of business. I mean, this cannot happen, guys. This is exactly what pushes innovation outside the U.S. I mean, regulation by enforcement is the exact wrong way to do it. And I can't believe that Gary Gensler can actually say this is a good way to regulate this space. It makes no sense. And I'll go back to the executive order telling us that they basically said, SEC, it's not up to you now. It's up to you to work with all the regulatory bodies out there and get this right. So, I mean, I really hope that the SEC gets reined in here because we know, if the SEC and Gary Gensler continue with what they're doing here, it's only going to hurt more investors. It's only going to, like I said, push innovation outside the U.S. And, this is a really eye-opening interview here of what you haven't really heard a lot of talk around this lawsuit. Obviously, there's a lot of talk and not enough, obviously, around the Ripple lawsuit. But this lawsuit, hasn't got any coverage at all. And it's funny, you see these blockchain association groups out there that are supposed to be, supporting and representing the whole blockchain space, but they are always just worried about Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's always Bitcoin and Ethereum. This space is more than Bitcoin and Ethereum, and I can't take that maximalism. That tribalism is exactly what we don't need in the space. We need those, so-called blockchain associations to be helping small companies like this, like LBRY. But we don't see it. We see nothing. We hear crickets from the supposed blockchain and crypto advocates out there, and it's sad, So the next thing I want to show you guys. So this was a ruling that came down this morning, I believe, in the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. James Filan always giving us up to dates. I mean, he is spot on. I mean, shout out to James Filan. Definitely follow him on Twitter. Always giving us up to date. Whatever is happening in this lawsuit, he's on it, right? So SEC files letter claiming Judge Torres's ruling on the motion to dismiss makes SEC internal documents, including the Hinman emails and the Estabrook notes, irrelevant, in that the SEC should not have to disclose them. I mean, is this surprising? Now they're trying to basically say, oh, those emails are irrelevant now. The Estabrook notes of that meeting that supposedly the commissioners told, or basically told Brad Garlinghouse that XRP was not a security. Now those documents are irrelevant. Like, can you really? So Fred Rispoli tweeted out in response, by the way, this latest desperation move, not to be confused with the reconsideration desperation move, proves to me that if NetBurn orders disclosure, SEC will appeal to Torres, and if Torres affirms, SEC will pursue the Triple Crown desperation move to appeal to the Second Circuit Court appeal. This is what I've been saying on this channel for a while now. These emails, there's something bad in these emails, guys. Either XRP was brought up and they decided to take it out of the speech, or there's something obviously really detrimental to their case, and they will not. There's no way they're going to give up these emails. So, like Fred is saying here, when Judge NetBurn gives the ruling, and I'm pretty sure, almost like 99% sure, that she will basically order the SEC to hand over those emails, then the SEC will appeal to Judge Torres, and then Judge Torres will tell the SEC, nope, you have to hand those emails over, and then they can then appeal to the Second Court of Appeals, Second District Court, or Second Circuit Court. So the timetable and all that, that's where, is the timetable basically for a settlement. How long can they delay this? That's the question, right? So I think Stefan Huber actually says the same thing here. The SEC versus Ripple lawsuit will be over on the day the Supreme Court denies the SEC's appeal on its ruling to release the Hinman emails. Tragic, but probably true. Clearly, the SEC is no longer concerned with the security status of XRP, but covering its tracks. So exactly, the only thing that is basically, this case is over, right? We've talked about it on this channel. This case is over. Since that the fair notice ruling, this case is over. It's been over for a while, but that was like the final straw. But now, the only importance of this case now is the SEC basically trying to cover those tracks that are in those emails. So, you're not going to get a settlement until the SEC is basically forced to hand over those emails. And like I said, what's the timetable on that? If NetBurn, is the ruling comes tomorrow, right? That NetBurn rules that the SEC needs to hand over the emails. Tomorrow it happens. And then 2 to 3 days later, then the SEC appeals to Judge Torres. Then 2 weeks to a month later, Judge Torres comes out with her ruling, right? To hand over the emails. Then the SEC, has a week to come up with their reply to appeal. And then they appeal to the Second Circuit. And then what's that, another month? So we're looking at, at the least a month and a half, 2 months. And that's just, that has nothing to, it's crazy to think that, this case is over basically, but now the SEC can actually delay this case just by appealing one ruling. This is the justice system, right? This is how it works. And the SEC is basically using it to their advantage. And this is the type of thing that defendants do. It's funny to think that the SEC is the one that filed this lawsuit, and they're the ones that are backed into this corner, basically trying to, they're the ones that seem like that they're on the, they're in the hot seat. They're in the lawsuits against them. This is just the craziness of this whole thing. And every day I'm just in awe that the SEC actually is still in this case. So next thing here, and this just shows you, this is a quote by Brad Garlinghouse. This shows you that, they're not going to settle. Ripple and Brad Garlinghouse, CEO of Ripple, are not going to settle unless they have a guarantee that XRP has, full clarity moving forward. So this was a quote he gave out a while ago, like in the early stages of this lawsuit, but there's no scenario through that we are going to settle unless there's absolute certainty about what is XRP on a go forward basis. So they will not settle unless there's clarity for XRP, and the SEC will not settle until basically they are forced to, right? So this is where this timetable is so confusing, because we don't know how long the SEC can actually delay this, right? I know it's painful, guys. Trust me. We're all in this together, though. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about in this video is Massimo posted this. But of course, House panel postpones lawmakers' stock trading ban hearing. I've talked about this a lot on this channel too. That they're basically trying to ban politicians and federal employees from trading stocks and other cryptocurrencies and everything. And I've said it. It's like, very, very nice timing. Basically, when the market is at the peak of its existence, basically, right? But all of a sudden they're postponing it. Why would they do that? Why would they all of a sudden postpone it? That's terrible, man. We want these politicians not to own stocks, right? But think about it. Now they're postponing it. Why is that? Because the stock market's down friggin' 60%. Because crypto's down 60%. They don't want to, we're not going to force ourselves to sell at the bottom here. No, we got to wait for this thing to, get back up to the top here, and then we'll say, now it's ban politicians and federal employees from owning stocks. You can't make this shit up, guys. This is like, most people are not seeing this, but you should. Watch what these people do. Why all of a sudden? This was supposed to happen like a month ago. Oh, they'll probably just blame the Ukraine-Russia conflict, right? Well, we can't do that yet. We have other important things to do first, and then later on, then we'll come back to this and actually ban lawmakers from trading stocks and crypto. Like, oh man, unbelievable that they even think that the people aren't seeing what they're doing here. And watch, like, mark my words, watch what happens in a couple months. When the stock market corrects and gets back up to those high levels, and same thing happens to crypto. All of a sudden, you'll see, it's immoral for these politicians to own stocks and crypto, so they should sell now. Yeah, let's sell now when everything is rebounded 100% or more. You can't make this shit up, guys. It's unbelievable that this keeps going on. The corruption in this country needs to stop. Anybody that thinks we live in a straight democracy is lying to themselves. We live in an oligarchy, guys. There's the top, rich, powerful people in this country are the ones that run it, and that's the bottom line, right? And if you think I'm a conspiracy theorist, sorry, do some more research, because trust me, we live in a corrupt, fraudulent society, and that's the bottom line. And the only thing we can do about it is actually vote in the people that can change that, and write your congressman, and let yourself be heard, because they will keep doing these same things over and over again until we actually stand up and band together as a decentralized community and get them to do the right thing, or else they'll keep on trampling on our rights and hurting investors all around the country and the U.S. And the world. So I'll end it there, guys. But just remember, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. But just remember, I am not a financial advisor. Please do not take anything I write or say as financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. And thanks, guys, and we'll see you on the next one.